Hey you guys, it's MJ from All to Love. How are you? I Wowzers, the energy is really open today. And it could just be that we're quite I suppose it's the energy like when people talk about the veils being thin or like the veil being really thin, and I think that we're just in this like super potent portal of manifestation. And whenever there's these potent portals, the way I feel into it is this sort of extreme paradox. And so, like, there's like this incredibly benevolent, loving energy that's like flowing through us, and like, wow, bliss and ecstasy. And it's so wonderful. And then, like, the paradox of that or the contrast of that is that at the same time, i.e., like within the same day or within the same moment, we can be very sensitive and like emotional storms and or upheavals. Hi Violet Melon, how are you? Emotional upheavals can blindside us a little bit, and you guys know I always speak from direct experience. So this morning, just a little comment, just it just like it but and it was so surface level. It was barely like a perceptible trigger. It was just like a almost right away, like like just wanting to cry loads. And hey Jessica, how are you? Um and so and then but there again, this is part of the teaching. If anyone's new here this morning, this is part of what I talk about in the Fearless Life Guide is like the manifestation path is a deeply emotional. If you res with that, like if you're a connected, empathic, emotional human, it's like spinning around the dogmatic, systematized program of your emotions are bad, or i.e., the ones that are like sadness and pain and anger and resentment and jealousy. Those are negative and bad emotions. And so you should just deny that they're there. You should just pretend that you don't have them and only focus on the positive ones, which is fantastic. And yeah, that's a discipline for sure. And it's worthy of our attention. And yet, in my practice and my journeying up to leading to publishing the book and having been in many different healing communities and professional well-being circles and all of this and done a lot of study and training around it, it all still comes back to the self. And within the self, there's these things we call emotions, and systematically, even in our spiritual circles, they've been repressed and denied. Like, let's just meditate so that we can control the emotions and not have to actually ever feel them. And I started to, with the increase of my meditation and mindfulness practices and yoga practice, like 5 years into that professional career, it suddenly dawned on me of like, what's underneath it all, and within. So when you can just be present with a trigger, it's often these huge, these waves of emotion that come through us, that come out of us. And I truly believe that's a reverse of the world's thinking, is that we're clearing stuff out of our beingness, karma, ancestral codes, junk DNA, as I like to call it, which is just the old paradigm, projected image of the human, and with its dis-ease, with its sicknesses, with its lowliness, right? And so that density level is ultimately what we're transforming through the light of our awareness in our presence field, which is our heart field, so that we can harmonize it and keep choosing our desire. Hey April, how are you? Hey Paula, how are you all this morning? So we have to continue to stand down the density, as it were. So whenever we have, hey Matthew and Gia, whenever we have those feedbacks, whenever we feel the old patterns coming back, whenever we're like, oh no, I'm never gonna be free, then you shine it down every time. And I encourage myself to keep showing up here because I'm aware of how relentless it is. Hey Revelate, how are you? Um, yeah, and I'm aware of how easy it is to kind of use our medias and use our platforms here to actually kind of hide from stuff, right? And or manipulate the illusion a little bit so that it looks a certain way when really this whole spiritual awakening, manifestation, law of attraction, all this stuff I would say is uh like it's like simple in such a way, and yet in our experience on this life it's super profound because our mind has been kind of like corrupted, right? We've been trained to perceive under a false logic, i.e. the illusion of separation. So integrating ourselves back into unity and non-duality and love seems to be quite a task, right? And yet we're here, and a lot of us resonate with this feeling of we're still alive. So hey, Paula, nice one from from Wales. You're like literally right over the road from me, right? Hello. um so yeah, I just had a moment of embracing all of the heart loves and like the lovely things, the rings, how funny. Oh yeah, and then that brought me to the title of like the compassionate love movements are now like in bigger and bigger and bigger waves are really kind of sweeping the globe. And of course I'm like I've got my what is it like my feet on the pavement. I kind of feel very much like right here with everybody. I know Wrexham. I know Wrexham, Paula. I'm trying to think now. Wrexham. I used to live in Liverpool. I lived in Liverpool for 6.5 years, and I used to go over and visit like the Wirral. And I feel like Wrexham might be like maybe around the Wirral or something. So the Wirral. And then I also would go to we went to Glencloughlin and Bangor. So those are all like North Wales. Wrexham, I can't remember exactly where it is, but I know it definitely rings a bell, my friend. It feels like it's up there in the Liverpool area. Um, so yeah, we've got an increasing momentum with these love movements. So obviously, Ultra Love is one of them, and there's so many others. And within, like, I guess, like you could say, like the umbrella of Ultra Love, there's like the zero waste movement. So that's a movement on the planet which is building up momentum. What's the other one? Vegan, because I'm all up in the vegan love because I just got back from London getting loads of footage from this vegan nights and then speaking to all these dominantly younger-ish people. If I'm honest, these are um, a lot of 20 somethings and 30 somethings, and in fact you like well, I wouldn't want to like be ageist here in any way, but in this London community of veganism, it's a fairly dominant, you know youngish crowd. See, yeah, by Clonglockland, so you're really close. I know the area very well. Hi, welcome to the channel. I'm so happy to have you here. Nebulake. Okay, thank you. Rap duo, fantastic. Actually, this is really good because there was like a collective of they were one of the clothing brands that I featured, and then Bob also is a YouTuber. Um, his channel's called Family Freedom. I haven't actually watched it. Um, but then he also has a clothing brand called Ethics, which is obviously his whole thing is again like kind of promoting this stuff without being preachy, but almost like covertly is subliminally getting this vegan stuff into like a cool vibe, not some dirty hippie vibe. And I think that's often the stigma that some of us are out working with all this spirituality stuff is that um and this resonates with my journey, but like when you're little you kind of get told that that's a weirdo people, those are the dirty hippies, or those are the weird kids, or the spiritual kids, or the poor whatever, right? Somehow we compartmentalize certain things, and then as we were reawakening we're like, wait a minute, that's not that, and I could do that, and I can be that. And so we're kind of always outworking um the lie. Anything that we lied to ourselves about, we're sort of integrating that aspect so that we can be that, if that's what we're meant to be, right? We don't want to MJ. Hey Lady Blue, how are you? Um, so so yeah, these compassionate movements will continue to pop up in our awareness, and then maybe we'll become that. Because and they all cross over, and this is something that's like super beautiful. Hi Tech Victor, how are you? This is something that's like so beautiful with these movements, is like how passionate the people are. So what we're finding in the business circles, like, I don't know because I was never really in it, but like brief touchings in on like certain corporate business trends, it's like this really competitive, quite hard-edged energy, and like, and then also weirdly it's like the norm for people to dick each other over, which is just not cool at all. So our evolution is representative in these compassionate movements like veganism, self-love, unplug, like all of the ones that also love are obviously advocates of, but then other people who've really taken them on, like the self-care code. I did an interview with these girls who have the self-care code. So her whole business is like great. But the main thing about the business is the whole lifestyle, is the building awareness, is the sharing of the passion, is the like, okay, yeah, self-care, self-love. It's important for us to take care of ourselves, but why? Why is that? What? So we can continue to lord over each other? No, because our looking after ourselves, the self-care and the self-love is inherently what we're able to radiate and share with one another and the planet. That's the crux of the self-care. It's not a hoity-toity, let's self-care more so that we can just ignore the problems. No, it's actually weirdly the opposite. Let's learn how to truly love ourselves and truly look after ourselves so that we can truly love one another and truly look after the planet. That's the shift. That's the paradigm shift ultimately, right? So you have the self-love and the self-care stuff, which crosses into the environmental zero waste, because it's like, let's look after the planet, which crosses into the vegan. Let's not be cruel to the innocent creatures. Um, so what's really amazing is that the singularity of a compassionate movement, i.e., if it's just about love, fine. If it's just about veganism, fine. If it's just about sustainability, fine. If it's just about unplugging, fine. And yet, most of these vegan brands or sustainability brands or self love brands, they're all aware of one another. So the coolest thing for me going out to do the vlogging or the interviewing with people was like, um was seeing just how passionate these business owners were, and then like how it's from their heart. That's what's cool about their businesses. And similarly with me, right, technic or Matthew, right? It's but then that is something in like the yoga and the well-being industries of like, it's but this is subtle, and it's not, I'm not like attacking, but this is a personal like thing about those shades of like, who is the self-care really for, and what edges do we pick up on when we're feeling into companies promoting this stuff. So, and this is again, this is where my subtlety, like the intuitive awareness versus just like open-hearted, allowing it all. And you're like, um right, like anything, it can just be control and domination propaganda. So weirdly, if the self-care propaganda is making you feel bad about yourself, there's something up. This is what I'm getting to, is like our ability as empaths to really intuit what's real and what's not. And it's not, it's about owning our own, being responsible for ourselves, owning our triggers and all that kind of stuff. Um, and at the same time being super present, because it's in our presence that we can navigate this stuff. And I'm just sitting with that whole sense of like, if we don't resonate, that's okay. It's okay for us not to always resonate with everything all the time, right? Hey, Hey, lady. Hey, lady. Hey, Rochelle. Is it on topic? I'm not feeling like top notch, my friends. I'm not gonna lie to you. In fairness, like I had a long drive, not in fairness. Let's make a whole bunch of excuses today. So I had a long drive back from London yesterday, and then I went to bed at 7:30. And actually my battery's running a little low, but that's okay. So you guys, I kind of feel like that might be it for this morning. I'm not gonna lie, like there's part of me that wants to go cry. There's another part of me that wants to sleep for a little bit longer. And there's another part of me that just wants to give you all guys a big virtual hug vibration. So that's me just hugging my computer, being like, hey guys, let's have a group snuggle. Let's have a group snuggle. Um, just because there's so much love here. And I'm in a little bit of delirium for sure. But I wanted to get it out there, right? Thanks, Pepe. You're a legend, my friend. I really wanted to get this specific message out there that compassionate love movements are sweeping the planet. And for many, it might feel like we're just getting started or we're at the beginning of it. Look, I was just thinking mountain, and then I look down and I see Rochelle's message, Mountain Dew helps. So we can all drink some Mountain Dew and get ready to climb a really big mountain. Hugs. You guys, you know it. I feel like this is one of those days where this is going to be a little short, but I might do an unlisted video later. I might get a bit of a download. The energies are incredibly expansive, and I don't even know what that means necessarily. What our hearts are really open. Perhaps it's the fact that there's going to be some unexpected manifestations drop in that are like, boom, 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 ah! Who knows? It's just one of those days, isn't it? Like any other day, but we're still here, so let's keep going. And how weird is it that I do this, go, let's keep going. And all this is let's keep going, i.e., just be better humans, i.e., just love ourselves and one another better and see how that goes, see what happens, see how that unfolds, rather than going back into complain mode, which we all like to do sometimes. Let's be totally legit. But practice not so much. Like, what does it feel like to just be more in presence and more in like gratitude? Like, hey guys, I have mega appreciation for all of you just because we're here and existing and sharing. And like, what is better than that? I'm not sure. Rochelle. So yeah, there you go, guys. I have a massive heart love for you and really big hugs. And yeah, mediocre share today. But I just spit up a little bit. So but you guys know that I have like just infinite love here for all of you. And a big shout out to Andrew G, who yeah, he does really good work and is feeling the heaviness of the world today. So I want to just send, you know, the big kind of grounded fierce love for when we're feeling in absolute shits of life, and then a really grounded unconditional love vibration, neutral love when things are going fantastic, so we can just keep being present. That's it. That's all I got for you guys. Matthew, I feel better just from seeing that. Just from saying, hey, no, that was good, and feel better. And I feel better already. It's just one of those days, isn't it? You guys, I love you loads. Have an awesome one, and I'll speak to you real soon. Peace.